Hello everyone and welcome to the Hobby Guard. Yes, I am wearing glasses today. I was too lazy to put on my contacts, which means that I cannot wear my hat, my wizard hat, because I get nerd look overload. I feel like the wizard hat works without glasses, not with them. That being said, in case you've been following in case you've not been following my Berserker roleplay of Skyrim. It's just a playthrough where I'm like for the first time trying to roleplay through the whole game, at the very least. I ended up in a very, what's the word? Fishy situation. The last episode took the wrong boat. I was trying to go one place to join the Stormclaws and I ended up in a completely different place in a strange land. And then I wanted to get into a fight, right? Because my character, he's a barbarian, he loves fighting and he likes to make some coin fighting and so on. And he wants to go to Sovngarde. So he needs to become a great fighter. So I took the first fighting job that I could find. In reality, I only wanted the episode to have at least some action because it was mostly politics. And I got my backside kicked into oblivion immediately in my first fight. So now I find myself in this, and this is all going somewhere by the way. Now I find myself in this situation where like, well, I couldn't finish that fight. I have some catacombs that I have to clear of Ashborn, which are like zombies made of ash. They're pretty cool. And now my character finds himself in this strange land and I gotta find a way around it, you know? Do I hire someone to help me in a fight and perhaps stain my honor? Or since I would be staining my honor anyways, do I turn to thievery? You know, I do have a good sneaking skill. So technically, even though it's not something my character has ever done, only by accident do I steal things, you know, that can happen in this game. He could turn to thievery and then buy a bunch of potions and food and perhaps more powerful weapons and become stronger that way. Or does he keep his honor intact and then just find the right way to... Do I just go scavenging for resources and maybe finding lower level fights?
If you witness
don't come back here until I fully level up. What you'll notice, my point with all of this is, the one thing my character would not do to get out of this hairy situation is go online, read a guide on what to do, how to get the meta build for this level, and to find a bug that allows you to bypass the scenario or to use a certain command that allows you to bypass whatever. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing any of those things because hey, it's your game. You paid for your game. You played however you like. But that being said, it just brings so much more, not only replayability, because I mean this also goes for games that I've never played fully, like Skyrim, right? I have a bunch of hours in Skyrim. I just never finished the game. Never got too far because I always got lost in the minutia. I always got lost role-playing. But it's not even replayability. It's just how could I call it? What would be the proper word for it? I want to say it's just more connection to the game. And I think that one of the reasons, there's two main reasons we can no longer enjoy games as we used to. I don't know if you're older, I mean, obviously I'm older, right? I'm 31. But I still remember when a new video game came out and it was a whole thing. It was an event. Me and my friends would play that for probably years to come in some cases. And I believe some of the reason that magic is lost for so many people, because my friends will wait for a new game to come out, but it's nowhere near the same level of excitement usually, And even if we are excited, we'll play it for a few days, a few months at most, and then it'll just fade into oblivion. No pun intended. So one of the reasons I think is because games nowadays are terrible. Just kidding. I don't think they're terrible. There's certainly a lot of issues in the gaming industry, but there's a lot of issues in every industry. No, actually, the real reason I think is just we started playing games in order to beat them, and we lost this connection to games that we used to have. Whereas I really miss... I mean, I'm not saying I'm good at games right now, but back in the day I was really bad at games. When I started playing, first of all, my mom did not want to let me play video games until I was way older. So obviously whenever I was young and playing video games, it was always either at a friend's house and I had to lie to my mom and tell her, oh yeah, I wasn't playing video games, we were playing football or whatever. Or I would have to steal them with a CD-ROM. It's something that we used to insert into computers. Or a disc even, a floppy disk, which I don't even know how to describe at this point anymore. I would go to the computer school and find the games that were installed in the computer school, and some chat back in the day installed, for example, Doom and the original Doom. And I stole that game and took it home, installed it in my computer, kept it secret, and then played for hours and hours. Where I was going with this is I couldn't even figure out how to install the game at first, right? And once I finally learned to install it, it was just a bunch of button mashing. I did have internet, so I did look up guides and such, but it was just different. The world of Doom, a game that's 1 year older than I am, so it's very old. The entire world, even though the graphics could be considered today terrible, just the entire world just had so much more to offer to me, and I spent so many hours just trying to figure out just the smallest things. And so I really was rewarded for the time that I invested into that game, because I was interacting with it at a different level, at a more ritualistic level even. It wasn't just, yeah, I'll just play the game to kill some time, whatever. I barely know what I'm doing. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, okay? I've been there after a long work day, hour and a half bus ride in the morning, 9-hour work shift, hour and a half bus ride in the afternoon home, in the way home, and then it's snowing and blowing outside and it freaking sucks, and you just want to come home and you gotta do the dishes, but you just want to sit down and maybe just goof around with something that allows you to be completely brainless for 30 minutes. And I absolutely get it, there's nothing wrong with that. What I'm saying is, let's not forget that there is a lot more complex and fun ways to interact with games, and one of those ways is role-playing. So now, finally, 8 minutes into the video, I finally get to the topic of the video. I'm so good at this YouTubering thing. I'm amazing. I got this nailed down. It used to take me 20 minutes. Now it only takes me 8. Let me share you another story real quick, just before I jump into talk about more of the benefits of role-playing. Back in the year 2023, I believe it was, a small game, probably very niche, kind of underground even, I'm sure you haven't heard of it. Something called Baldur's Gate 3, I think, came out. Not a lot of people played it. Well, if you're watching this video, you probably know what Baldur's Gate 3 is, obviously. It's an incredible game. And I was tempted. I hadn't played a Baldur's Gate game in like 15 years or so, but I still remember my first Baldur's Gate game that I played was Baldur's Gate 2, and it was very immersive, and I never finished it, obviously, because I was dumb. But that's the thing, I was like very dumb and very bad at games. But that's something another thing I forgot to finish saying earlier. I used to enjoy games a lot more when I was worse at them, if that makes sense. Just the process of figuring it out. But anyways, back to Baldur's Gate. When I was deciding which character to make, I even made like 2 or 3 characters at the start, because which class you choose, which race you choose, just the character creator in general, I spend hours sometimes even in the character creator, because that's just one of my favorite parts of those type of games, right? So originally I wanted to go with a paladin. I was being called to play a paladin or maybe a cleric. I wanted to be like this crusader, templar, sort of extremist religious character, right? That's why in my head I was gonna roleplay as, because you don't really get that option in Baldur's Gate. It's all things considered, it's you can be good and bad, but you can't necessarily be a religious extremist, which sounded very cool at the time to me to roleplay as that. And I thought of maybe grabbing either a paladin. I ended up going with a war cleric, which was the right choice for me. I really enjoyed playing that game as a war cleric the first time. But anyways, one of the reasons that dissuaded me from choosing a paladin was I remembered watching an online video on the topic, and apparently most of the people chose to play as the paladin class. It was the most played class. And I chose not to play the paladin class because if normies are playing the paladin, then I don't want to play the paladin. You know, I want to be unique, I want to be special, I want to be original and set aside from all the normies. No, just kidding. I obviously, I'm not saying I'm right, but I was like, nah, if everyone plays that class, I want a different experience than everyone else. I don't want that. That's just probably an autism thing that I have. There's nothing, I won't support that argument. That's totally one of the reasons I didn't choose to play the paladin, even though I liked the class. I was just looking for a more niche experience, if you will. Super hipster, I know, but that's just how my brain works sometimes, unfortunately. But the other thing that I thought after reading that, or seeing, I think it was a YouTube video, I saw that detail that most people play the paladin class. The other thing that I thought about is, well, how interesting, because you get a game where you can be anything you want. Not anything you want, but there's a bunch of options. It's probably, to this date, one of the games which offer the most freedom in regards to the interaction of your role-playing with the world and the consequences that your role-playing creates in the world. There's a lot of freedom in the game mechanics in regards to that, right? So I thought that was very cool. But how funny it is that in one of the games with the most freedom in that regard, people choose the one class that has role-playing limitations, right? The one class that, like, you can still do whatever you want with a paladin, you can still do everything else, but you have, in case you haven't played paladin in Baldur's Gate or in D&D, you have to take an oath, right? There's a bunch of oaths. There's Oath of the Ancients, Oath of Vengeance, Oath of the whatever, I don't know, some nerd or oath stuff. There's a bunch of them. Some of the cooler ones, unfortunately, are not in Baldur's Gate 3, but anyways. But if you break that oath, like in dialogue or with your actions, if let's say you take the oath of the Ancients, which is, I think it means you have to respect life and things like that, and nature. But if you unnecessarily kill some animal or some beast or act in a way in a dialogue option that just goes against that, you break your oath, and then it becomes a whole other thing. So your entire subclass changes. You become an Oathbreaker Paladin, which is also a very interesting subclass. My point is, there's a consequence, and the fact that that was the most played class made me think that perhaps people enjoy limitations. Perhaps we enjoy having certain not guidelines, but certain fences, certain obstacles in a gaming situation where, like me, yeah, how do I get out of this issue where I have to go and take care of some monsters that I'm definitely too weak. First of all, I didn't even want to be here. I wanted to be somewhere else, and now I'm in some island that I don't even know about, in the middle of nowhere, and I gotta go to the Temple of Mirak. I don't even know who Mirak is. Like, is it Mirak or Myrak? Myrak. Definitely don't want to go to the temple in Myrak. Sorry, I can do funny things with my accent sometimes. My point is, I could just get myself out of this situation any way I wanted, but I kind of don't want to. I could use perhaps a cheat or a command or just go around just to go back to my original questline that I wanted to revisit. But just having the limitation of, no, my character realistically wouldn't do that. My character, he didn't end up here because me playing I'm an idiot and I took the wrong boat. He ended up here because he's a hothead. He is the idiot in this scenario. And he took the wrong boat. And I think, honestly, that's hilarious. And that is very fun. And that brings a lot of value to any game that you play. And I would argue, sometimes you should role-playing games that don't even offer role-playing experiences. Like, I want to remove the stigma from this, because the fact that I'm 31 years old and I've been doing this my whole life, it has to mean either that I'm severely neurodivergent and I should have gotten checked years ago, either that, or that there's actually a bunch more people like me, we just don't talk about it that often, or a combination of both. But what I was gonna say is, even games like Call of Duty, even when I'm playing multiplayer Call of Duty, which is a game I haven't played in years, I think a couple of years ago I went back and played Black Ops 1. I think that's the last Call of Duty I played, but anyways, even a game that's considered like the least role-playable game, you just jump in there, you're just there to collect numbers, get that quick dopamine, and do some quick, some crazy trick shotting, and I don't know, just have some fun with the boys, whatever. You're certainly not supposed to be role-playing in the game, even those games. I sometimes am role-playing in my head, because that's how I get the excitement from things. And whether it's just a particular neurodivergence that I have, I certainly do have a lot of fun with it, and I do certainly enjoy it a bunch. Needless to say, that is twice as true in role-playing games, obviously, right? Because this is where you're supposed to have that experience. And it doesn't mean that you have to go all in. It doesn't mean that you have to go like full cringe. You can if you want.
Rock Traveler. Could I interest you in any fine ash-grown foods?
Yes, please do.
My wife and I are doing the best we can to keep Raven Rock fed.
I don't care about your backstory. So it doesn't mean that you have to do that. Okay, it doesn't mean that you have to go all in into your cringe character and start acting like your character, whatever. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means, in your head, you have this idea. It's like almost being a theater director. Maybe that doesn't sound as cool, but that's only because you've never directed a theater play and you've never made an actor cry. And trust me, if you've never made an actor cry, you have not lived. No, I haven't made actors cry. No, wait, I have, but it wasn't in a bad way. It was a different life. Okay, I was in the in the acting industry for most of my life. It was a different lifetime, many moons ago. But my point is, it's almost like that. It's almost like being a writer and writing your own fantasy book, and you're just using all these prompts around you. And that's why I want to get more into CRPG games, like Baldur's Gate, obviously, but another one that I also love is Rogue Trader. Obviously, I'm a huge Warhammer fan, and Rogue Trader is awesome, and I can't wait for Dark Heresy to come out. That looks so good. Even though, like, isometric, top-down view RPGs kind of lose me just on the... Maybe it's my ADHD, but just on the cinematic capabilities of it, they just lose me. I want to be close to my character. I can't look at it from far away for too many days before I start losing interest, because I want to be closer, I want to feel the action. Even though that happens, I just like CRPGs because they make me feel like I'm interacting with a book, and I'm sort of writing my own story in this world, in this huge world. and it feels like actually writing, and writing a story, it's pretty cool. I'm a horrible writer, but I would love to write books someday. I gotta practice more. Maybe I should do that on a stream sometime. But just so everyone can see how bad of a writer I am.
Stop by. I always
But my
have
point
plenty
is,
of food for sale.
you think writers don't use, don't have, what are they called? What's the word I was using earlier? Damn it. Restrictions. Writers have restrictions. They enter, the best writers, the most experienced writers, usually they don't come in and just see a blank page and just have nothing in mind. They usually give themselves restrictions and think, okay, I'm gonna write a story and this needs to happen. And some of those restrictions, they let go along the way because they just weren't working. But my point is, creativity sometimes is enhanced by restrictions, by having restrictions of what you can do, what you can't do, and sometimes some restrictions are self-imposed. I would argue some of the more interesting restrictions are self-imposed, and that may skyrocket your creativity, and it all just starts from a cool idea, from an idea that you have, oh, it'd be cool to try this out, and then you try it. Maybe you start a new character like I did. I thought, oh, it'd be cool to have just a completely math berserker that's just addicted to his potions and his berserker brews, and he's just very violent, and I even tried to do like a black metal corpse paint on his face because I thought that would look cool and whatever. And now I ended up trying to get to know the people in a different island because I'm stuck here. And that's not where I saw this character going, but that's the restriction that I'm self-imposing on myself, and I think that's fun. And that's what I'm trying to share with the world. Me, a 31-year-old man, is shamelessly having fun role-playing as a Stormcloak wannabe berserker in Skyrim. And I just want the world to have this much fun. So that's all for this video. Please, in the comments down below, I would love for you to just let me know your opinions on this, whether you do this at all. Are you older than me and do you still do this? Are you young? And have you ever done this at all? Or have you ever never heard of like, role-playing in games such as this, even when they're not role-playing games? Just whatever it is, any feedback, any criticism, I would love to see it in the comments down below, read about it. Please like and subscribe the video if you liked it. It is a lot of help, especially starting out this channel, because it's a very new channel and I'm still figuring out exactly what to do with it and where to take it. So I'm still learning a bunch. Any advice, any feedback is incredibly helpful. I won't take it the wrong way. Don't worry about it. I have very thick skin. So yeah, just let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. Ad Astra, and till the next one. How do I stop this? Make the videos. Okay, I got it. Sorry guys. Okay, actually now. Until the next one. See, I'm still learning.